So here's another behind the scenes video, this time in Logic Pro X, and this is a track Redlight, which was released on Afro Art Records, and just going to give you a little behind the scenes tour here. The mix down isn't spot on because it's an old project and I've got different plugins compared to that time, so I've just had a quick pass through, just trying to level it out. I think it's okay. A couple of elements are not quite right, but really this is about the composition and the construction of the track. So you can hear we're in that phase, that drum intro. Taking a look at the structure, about to drop into the bass line. And I'm going to backtrack on some of the elements soon. Let me just load up this one. Bass line coming from the ESP. It's one of Logic's oldest synthesizers, but a very good synth for kind of analog sounds, analog basses. The stab coming in, coming from the ES2. Possibly slightly too loud here. Like I said, I had to quickly mix it down before doing the video. Some of my old projects are in a bit of a mess, to be honest. Okay, so look, let's backtrack a little bit. So the beats, these are coming from the Ultra Beat, and this is Logic's stock drum machine. Although it isn't being used, the programming down here, the programming's coming from the actual MIDI regions. The sounds, I can't remember the kit here, whether I actually created this or whether it was a stock kit from the library. It sounds very much like a stock kit to me, and that's probably what happened there. That was the foundation, getting the beats down first and then adding other elements. So layered on top of that, 909 hats coming from the EXS24 EXS 909 kits. It's a real classic one there. The other elements that we've got here, so kick. Sorry, I just pushed the wrong button, so kick. A sidechain version of the kick, clap, layered with the snare, sounds like a 909 to me. Okay, a second kick coming in, that's over here. And that's just to provide some contrast on the intro. You can see that here. So it's just a gradual build up. That vocal here, this is from the Logic jam packs, the vocals. All of the vocals you hear are from the Logic library. It's a very simple structure, this one. You heard there as we led into the bassline section that there was a drop in the kick. So that's a very common thing. So that would have probably been this one. And just taking a look at the sequence data, yeah, you can see here, so that drops the kick out. So that helps give a transition into the bassline section. The vocals are being filtered. And you see the cutoff here, so low pass filter, taking away the brightness, but then bringing it back. There's the bass line. Probably cooking just a little bit too hot. Let's go at minus 0.3 on there with the limiter. Now this stab, I tell you what, I'm going to show you this. This is one of the main elements of the track. ES2, it's a custom patch that I made. And what we'll do is we'll just set this up. Let's take it. So we've got it literally around that section. Look at the cutoff over here. This is being modulated. Now look at the voicing. So we've got 3 oscillators. One of these as a square, Another one with the pulse width modulated over here. Tell you what I'll do, I'll break these down. That's the first oscillator. Look at the tuning, -5 semitones. Next oscillator, +9. And then the final oscillator, +10. So the spacing between those notes creates this mad chord. Filter totally opening up here on that stab sound and then going down again to create the variation. Coming into a section where I've just added a wood block for some extra interest. Also you hear there's a shaker loop coming in there. And this is kind of the main vocal hook. Take a look down here in the mixer, you see we've got a vocal bus called Vox. That classic Selena string, EXS24 Selena string patch, used a lot by myself in productions, and then running through the microphaser. So that's giving it that 70s vibe that I'm really into, and I'm going to solo this. Let's take off the microphaser. Still a great sound, but with the phaser on, gives it that almost clockwork orangey kind of vibe. So really subtle, very stripped back, hardly any elements here, just drums, bass line, chord stab. You can hear how those 909 hats really provide extra movement at certain points. And now a very stripped back breakdown. Just taking it down to the kick and the bass, which if you're in a big club sounds fantastic, of course. And the stab rising up, the filter opening. And that shh vocal. So here's the build up, very, very subtle. Don't expect any big, massive snare rolls or anything on this one. But it's just going back to the classic days of like a big dark room and heavy system. So it's purely the stab here. See the automation there. Automation on the vocal. You can see here feeding into the effects. That's a bit of drama. Just coming back onto this. Let's take a look. ESP. And this is just one of the oscillators here pretty much. Second one at the higher octave. So 2 oscillators being used. Let's take this one out and you can hear that on its own. So a very classic 2 oscillator bass patch. And that's something that I created myself. So just a little look behind the scenes there on Redlight, and that was released on Afro Art Records, so I'll put a link below. And any questions, just fire away and I'll get back to you when I can.